Smoke rose like ghosts from the scorched earth. The sky, once blue, now bled with fire and ash. Sergeant James Rook could barely hear over the ringing in his ears. Plasma blasts tore through the ruined battlefield, turning men into shadows. He crawled, one arm dragging behind him, blood soaking through his armor. The last thing he remembered was covering his unit's retreat. He stayed behind. He volunteered. He always did, but this time, he was alone. Rook tried to lift his rifle, but his arm gave out. His HUD flickered and died. No medevac. No signal. Just static. He was dying. He could feel the warmth of his own blood soaking into the dry alien soil beneath him. Strange red grass tickled his cheek as he coughed up more. Every breath was harder than the last. He turned his head and saw the enemy. Approaching 3 alien soldiers in black armor. Their tall, insect-like legs moved with eerie speed. They were scanning the bodies, confirming kills. One of them looked right at him. Rook closed his eyes. He didn't pray. He didn't believe in last-minute miracles. But then, the ground shook. The alien soldier stopped moving. Then a loud metallic crack tore through the air. Rook opened his eyes just in time to see the enemy soldier lifted into the air, its body crushed like a toy. The other 2 shouted something in their strange clicking tongue. One opened fire toward the trees, but it was too late. A massive shadow burst from the smoke. It wasn't a tank. It wasn't human. It was tall, towering, 12 feet, maybe more, covered in thick armor made of bone and glowing metal. Its eyes burned like embers, deep red and unblinking. One massive hand grabbed the second alien and threw him into the air. Like a stone, the last enemy tried to run. He didn't get far. In seconds, all 3 enemies were dead. And then, slowly, the giant turned to Rook. Rook's vision blurred. He reached for his sidearm, fingers trembling. He had no idea what this thing was. Another alien? A rogue beast. But then, the creature knelt down, carefully, gently, and it spoke. "Human hurt," it said, voice deep and slow. Rook blinked, he thought. He was hallucinating. No alien ever spoke Earth standard. Not like that. It reached toward him. Rook tried to resist, weakly shoving its hand. But his fingers only pressed against something solid, something warm. "Stay still," the voice said, and then darkness. When Rook opened his eyes, everything was different. He wasn't on the battlefield anymore. He was inside some kind of shelter made of stone and metal, dimly lit by bioluminescent orbs hanging from the ceiling. His armor was gone, replaced by strange but soft cloth wrappings. And beside him, sitting silently, was the giant alien. The same one from the battlefield. Rook struggled to sit up, but a huge hand gently pressed his shoulder down. Still weak, the alien said. Bones cracked, blood lost. Rook coughed. "What are you?" The alien tilted its head. "Name is?" Tavok. Rook blinked hard. That name. It almost sounded familiar. Tavok stood and walked over to a corner. It picked something up, something shiny, and brought it over. Rook's heart stopped. It was a human dog. Tag, dirty, burnt, but the name on it was clear. Rook, T. His brother. Rook gasped, reaching for it. His hand shook. Where did you get this?" Tavok's eyes dimmed. "He saved me, long time ago. I repay." Rook couldn't speak. His throat was dry, his head spinning. His brother, Thomas Rook, was killed in action 2 years ago. No body recovered. And now this alien, this monster of war, was saying he owed his life to him. It didn't make sense. Rook wanted to scream, to demand answers, but his body gave out again. The pain returned in waves. Tavok crouched beside him. You not die? I keep promise. The last thing Rook saw before sleep claimed him again was the alien warrior watching over him like a guardian. Asterisk. The sound of dripping water echoed off the stone walls. Sergeant James Rook stirred in his sleep. His mind was swimming with broken memories, gunfire, screams, then the giant. The alien, Tavok. He sat up with a sharp breath, wincing as pain shot through his ribs. His side was wrapped in clean white cloth, damp with healing fluid. His body still hurt, but he was alive. That didn't make sense. He should be dead. Instead, he was lying on a bed made of moss, in a cave that glowed with soft blue light. And there he was, again sitting cross-legged, just a few feet away. The giant alien.Tavok, 12 feet tall, muscular like a tank, thick, scarred skin, black and silver armor sat beside him, pieces laid out like an ancient warrior's relics. His eyes glowed faint red, but there was no anger in them. No threat. Just stillness. Tavok noticed Rook was awake. You live, he said, in that same deep, slow voice. Rook pushed himself up against the wall. His hands searched for a weapon, anything. He found nothing. I should be dead, Rook muttered. Why'd you save me? Tavok stood slowly, his movements careful, like he didn't want to scare the injured human. Debt? Old debt. Your blood. Same as him. Rook stared. What do you mean? Tavok turned and picked something from a small bag near the fire pit. A chain dangled from his clawed fingers, the same dog tag he'd shown before. Rook T. My brother, Rook said, barely a whisper. Tavok nodded. He saved me, not shoot, not kill. He let me go. When all others shoot, Rook remembered his older brother's last mission. Deep infiltration, heavy losses, no one came back. His brother had been declared Kia. No body, no details, and now? This alien warrior said Thomas Rook had spared his life. Rook shook his head. You expect me to believe that? That my brother, my human brother, let you go, and you just walked away from the war? Tavok sat down, the ground vibrating slightly beneath him. I was soldier. I kill many humans. Too many. But your brother stopped. Said I looked tired. Said war made monsters. Rook's lips parted in disbelief. He said that. Nodded. He let me live. Said I could change. So I did. I left war. I hide. I survive. The silence between them grew heavy. Why didn't you come back to help sooner? Rook snapped. We're dying out there. Tavok looked down. Humans shoot me. Aliens hunt me. No place, no side. He pulled aside his cloak to reveal deep, burned scars across his side. Both alien and human weapons had left their mark. I saved one human before, Tavok said. Now, save one again. That is enough. Rook didn't know what to say. This creature, built like a war god, had chosen a life of hiding. Because of a promise to a dead man. He didn't feel safe, not yet. But something in Tavok's voice, raw, honest, broken, made him pause. Rook looked down at the moss bedding. You patched me up. Tavok gave a slow nod. Gave you? Clean blood. Not same, but works. Rook blinked. Wait. You gave me your blood. Some heals faster, Tavok said. Rook looked at his wrapped wounds, a strange blue-green glow beneath the bandages. His pain was less today, his breath stronger. Alien blood? And yet, he was alive. You didn't have to do that, Rook muttered. Tavok didn't answer. He just stared into the small fire pit as if watching ghosts in the flame. A long moment passed. Finally, Rook broke the silence. So, what now? Tavok stood. Now, we move. enemies saw me. They hunt, will come again, who your kind. Tavok shook his head. All kinds, my people and yours. Rook's heart sank. You mean humans. 2. Yes. You important, your army wants you. But not with me. Let me guess, they'll shoot us both. Tavok nodded. Yes. Rook gritted his teeth. Perfect. Tavok began gathering supplies, tools, rations, and a strange plasma blade with symbols carved into the hilt. Rook noticed it was old, maybe even ceremonial. You're not just a soldier, are you? Rook asked. Tavok looked at him with those red eyes. Was a commander. Once, Rook slowly got to his feet, using the cave wall for balance. His legs trembled, but he stayed up. You sure you want to drag me along? I'll slow you down. Tavok handed him a walking stick wood fused with bone. You not slow. You are mission. That hit harder than it should have. For the first time, Rook felt something shift inside him. Trust, maybe, or the start of something. Deeper, not friendship. Not yet. But the battlefield had changed, and now the enemy wasn't so easy to name. The stars blinked overhead as the jungle rustled around them. Sergeant Rook limped through the thick brush, leaning heavily on the alien-crafted walking stick. Beside him, Tavok moved like a silent mountain, huge, alert, and aware of every shifting leaf or sound. They had been walking for hours. Rook's strength was slowly returning, but each step still burned. His mind buzzed with questions, but he stayed quiet for now. Eventually, he reached a high cliff overlooking a valley filled with mist and the faint hum of enemy patrols far below. Tavok raised a hand, signaling for Rook to stop. Then, the giant alien sat down on a flat rock and pulled a small satchel from his belt. He took out something wrapped in a rectangular object carved with strange patterns. Rook sat nearby, careful not to fall. What's that? He asked. Pointing Data looked at it for a long time before answering. My code. Rook raised an eyebrow. Your code. Yes, Tavok said quietly. Every warrior has one. Before battle, we carve it. It says who we are, what we will never break. He opened the object. Inside was a thin metal tablet marked with deep, swirling engravings. Even though Rook couldn't read the alien language, he felt the weight behind each line. Tavok touched the carvings. I carved this after your brother let me live. Rook swallowed. Why? Tavok looked toward the valley. Because he reminded me. I am not just a weapon. Silence stretched between them, filled only by distant insect calls and the hiss of wind through the trees. I was raised for war, Tavok continued. Taken from Hatch family at 1 year. Trained in fire, pain, killing. We were told humans are weak, emotional, soft. But when I was wounded, when your brother found me, he didn't shoot. Rook's throat tightened. That sounds like him. Tavok nodded. He was bleeding too. Could have left, could have called others. But he sat with me. He gave me water. Said war changes people. Turns good into monsters. Rook's eyes stung. He remembered the last message his brother had ever sent. Just a voice file. Tom, quiet. I hope I come home as a man you'll still recognize. Thomas had said. Now it made sense. Rook leaned back against a tree, trying to make sense of everything. So, you left your army after that? Tavok nodded. My people called me a traitor, hunted me. I lost all honor. Okay? And that code told you to save me. Rook asked. Tavok looked at him and said simply, yes. Rook shook his head. You realize how insane this is? Human soldier and a 12-foot alien deserter hiding from both armies. I know, Tavok said. But I do not care. A sudden screech echoed in the distance. Tavok stood instantly, gripping his plasma blade. Scout drone. Rook looked up and saw the faint glow of red lights sweeping through the trees. "We need to move," Tavok said, already pulling Rook to his feet. They hurried through the underbrush, careful but fast. Tavok led them down a narrow trail, deeper, into the cliffs after an hour of climbing and ducking sensors. They reached a ruined bunker-old earth tech, half swallowed by vines and stone. Tavok forced open the door with raw strength. Inside, dust filled the air, and the lights flickered, weakly from backup cells. Rook stepped inside, coughing. "What is this place?" "Old listening post," Tavok replied. "Forgotten, but safer now." Rook stumbled onto a bench and rubbed his eyes. He hadn't rested properly in days. Tavok sealed the door and lit a glowstone from his pouch. The soft light danced off the walls. Rook looked over and saw a small object on a broken console. He stood and picked it up. It was a photo, dusty, scratched, but clear enough. A human squad, smiling, arms slung over each other, and they're standing. Tall in the back was his brother. Tavok walked over, looking down at it. "Yes," he said softly. He smiled like that before battle. Rook turned the photo over. Scribbled in marker was one phrase: "One life spared can change the war." Rook held the photo close, something heavy growing in his chest. My brother wasn't just a soldier. He was trying to change things. Tavok sat beside him, blade resting across his knees. "And now, so must we." A low rumble echoed through the walls. Tavok stood fast. "They are close. Scouts." Rook asked. Tack shook his head. "No." "Hunters." Asterisk. The sound came again. A deep, growling hum that shook the floor under Rook's boots. Tavok moved to the wall, pressing his thick hand against a crack. His eyes narrowed. "They have 4 legs. Heavy armor. Sound like breathing tanks." Rook's breath caught in his throat. "What are they?" Tavok turned to him slowly. "Trackers. Elite killers from my world. They smell fear. They follow blood." Rook's stomach turned. "And they're here for us." "No," Tavok said grimly. "They're here for me. You're just bonus." Suddenly, the old wall console lit up with a blinking red light. A human signal, encrypted but familiar. Rook rushed over, tapped into it. His hands moved fast, though they trembled slightly. "It's Earth's military. Close." Tavok's voice deepened. "Your kind is near too." "Yeah." "Recon patrol. South quadrant, 600 meters out." Rook looked up. "They'll find us." Tavok turned and picked up his gear. "Then we go. Now." Rook struggled to his feet, slinging a pack over his shoulder. His side still hurt, but he forced his body to move. He had no choice. The two slipped through a back passage of the abandoned listening post, climbing into thick undergrowth. The jungle was wet, dense, and alive with strange noises. They moved fast, Rook limping, Tavok leading. Then came the sound. Closer now, claws scraping stone. Metal grinding. Tavok suddenly shoved Rook into a hollow between tree roots and raised his weapon. A blur of black and red lunged through the trees. It wasn't humanoid. It looked like a fusion of lizard and machine. Long tail, 4 thick legs, and a mask covering its face. Its body glowed with bioenergy veins. As it landed, it let out a roar. So loud the leaves shook. Rook's heart almost stopped, but Tavok didn't flinch. With a roar of his own, the alien warrior slammed his plasma blade into the beast's chest. Sparks exploded. The creature screeched and twisted. Tavok blocked its claws with his forearm, his armor cracking from the impact. They rolled, crashed into a tree, splintering it in half. Rook scrambled up, grabbed a fallen weapon from the mud. Human rifle. Half broken, but still usable, he aimed and fired. The bullet pinged off the tracker's armor, but it distracted it. That was enough, Tavok roared, spun the blade and jammed it deep into the beast's throat. The monster gurgled and fell limp. Tava stood over it, breathing hard. One down. Rook's eyes widened. There's more. Tavok pointed to the hilltop. Two more. Hunting pack always comes in threes. Before they could breathe, another shape moved in the trees, but this one had a human outline, a soldier. In full combat gear, Rook froze. The human raised his weapon. Rook stepped out from cover and shouted, "Wait. Don't shoot." The soldier didn't lower the gun. "Target acquired," the soldier said into his comms. Sergeant Rook, located, accompanied by unknown Xeno, requesting fire support. No, listen to me," Rook shouted. "He's not the enemy. He saved my life." But the soldier didn't care. Behind him, a drone hovered silently scanning Tavok's form. Its lights turned red. Hostile confirmed, it beeped. The soldier locked in his aim. Suddenly, Tavok moved. He grabbed Rook and threw him to the side, shielding him with his massive frame. The drone fired. The blast hit Tavok in the shoulder. He didn't scream. He didn't fall. He turned and hurled a small device into the air. A pulse detonated. The drone fried instantly. Falling in pieces, the soldier stepped back, confused. Tavok stepped forward. Rook shouted, "Don't kill him. He's just following orders." Tavok hesitated, then turned and vanished into the trees. Rook scrambled up. The soldier was alive, but stunned. Rook grabbed his comms unit and tossed it into a stream. He looked down at the soldier. When command asks, "Tell him you never found me." Then he ran deep in the forest. Tavok sat against a rock, his shoulder smoking. "You okay?" Rook asked, sliding next to him. Tavok grunted. "Shoulder? Damaged. Not fatal." Rook looked around. "You saved me again. You still my mission." Rook sat in silence for a long moment. Then he said, "Why don't they want me back?" Tavok looked at him. "You saw too much. You spoke truth." That scares leaders. Rook thought back to the hacked signal they'd picked up earlier. Someone had marked him for death. Both humans and aliens wanted silence. He and Tavok were caught. "In the middle, we have to find proof," Rook said. Something that exposes them." Tavok nodded. "Then we go. Where war began." Rook raised his brow. "Where?" Tavok stood slowly, towering in the night. His red eyes narrowed. "Sector 0, Forbidden Zone." The ruins of Sector 0 were deathly silent. Blackened trees stood like skeletons. The ground was dry and cracked, as if life itself had been burned out. Radiation clouds hovered low. Only Tavok's knowledge of safe paths and detox crystals kept them alive. Sergeant Rook pulled his scarf tighter as cold wind hit his face. "This is where it all started." Tavok nodded slowly. "First contact, first betrayal, first strike." Rook looked around. The broken remains of both alien and human structures told the story. One of peace shattered. One of lies buried deep. Tavok pointed toward a collapsed tower in the distance. "Control center. Still has signal core. Hidden message. Not for public." Rook narrowed his eyes. "And you think it can prove someone wanted this war?" Tavok's red eyes glowed in the mist. "It will show everything." The two moved carefully across cracked metal and ash. Drones buzzed faintly in the distance, and mines lay scattered, forgotten. Inside the tower, the air was thick. Dust floated like snow. Rook helped clear the debris from an old console. Tavok pulled open a locked panel, revealing a core drive surrounded by alien roots and wires. This is where it lives. Tavak whispered. Rook hooked his wrist link to the interface, fingers tapping quickly. Encryption's old. This sill. Take a minute. While he worked, Tavak stood near the door, blade in hand. Then something flickered on the screen. A video file dated 6 years ago. Months before the war began. Play it, Tavak said. Rook hit the button. A figure appeared. Human. A general standing in a command room. Phase 1 complete, the man said. The alien envoy was eliminated during negotiations. Our units will plant false footage. The media will spin the first strike as alien aggression. We expect full public support for war within a week. Rook froze. The general continued. Any soldier who leaks the truth will be disavowed. The council wants this war. We profit, we expand, and we erase the past. The video ended. Silence fell. Rook slowly leaned back. It was us. We started it. Tavak didn't speak. He didn't have to. The betrayal ran deeper than either of them had imagined. Rook downloaded the file to his wrist link. This changes everything. If people saw this, a sudden boom rocked the tower. The wall exploded inward. A squad of elite soldiers in black armor stormed Inhuman. Tavak moved fast, shielding Rook from the blast. They followed. Another group entered through the opposite side. Alien hunters. They weren't allies. They weren't enemies. They were both here to destroy the truth. The tower became a war zone. Gunfire, plasma bursts, screams. Tavak fought. Like a storm, his blade cut through armor and bone. He didn't hesitate. He didn't hold back. Rook ducked and rolled, using the rubble as cover, firing at anything that came too close. One soldier grabbed him. Rook flipped him over and slammed a rock into his helmet until he stopped moving. The data drive sparked. Rook looked down. Dotto. Damaged double quotes, no dash, done single quotes, T-die on me. He muttered, trying to reroute the file into his wrist links. Backup core.tava was bleeding. His leg was torn open and burn marks covered his chest. Still, he stood between Rook and the chaos. Go, he roared. Escape with proof. Rook shook his head. Not without you. More troops flooded in. Suddenly, a sharp pulse filled the air imp. Every weapon shut down. Lights blinked out. Even Tavak's blade dimmed. The soldiers paused, confused, and then the roof caved in. A transport ship hovered overhead, marked, black as shadow. A voice crackled through a loudspeaker. Give us the file, or no one leaves alive. Rook stood slowly, hands raised, but his wrist link behind his back was still running. One last upload. He looked at tavak.tava, gave the smallest nod. Rook whispered, they want the file. He raised his arm and threw the wrist link into the air. The soldiers looked up. Tavak leaped with his last strength, grabbed the wrist link midair, slammed it into the back of a fallen drone. The drone's light blinked green. Upload complete. Tavak fell to his knees. Gunfire erupted again. Rook dove to Tavak's side, pulling him into cover as bullets tore through the walls. But it was too late. Tavak looked at Rook, blood spilling from his mouth. You must live. Truth must live. No, Rook said, choking. I'm not leaving you. We both make. Itap's hand gripped Rook's one last time. You are my brother now. The tower was falling apart. Dust rained from the ceiling. Fire crackled in the corners. The blast holes let in cold wind and smoke from outside. Shadows moved in the mist. Soldiers searching, hunting, killing. But Sergeant Rook wasn't dead yet, and neither was Tavak. The giant alien coughed. Forcing himself up with one arm, blood ran from a wound in his side, thick and dark. but his eyes still burned red. He gritted his teeth and looked at Rook. "I can fight." "No," Rook said firmly. "You can barely stand." "I fight or we die." Rook scanned the crumbling room. They were trapped, surrounded by two enemy forces, human black ops and alien assassins. And all of them wanted one thing: silence. The truth had already been sent through the hacked drone. Rook had used his wrist link to broadcast the message to a resistance channel, the one his brother once spoke of. If they got out alive, they could spread it further. But first, they had to survive. Rook picked up a discarded rifle. Half the barrel was melted, but it still had a working trigger. "Then let's give them a reason to regret chasing us." Tavok smiled, just barely. "I will make noise," he growled. Rook helped him to his feet. Together, they limped toward the edge of the tower, where a broken stairwell led up to the rooftop. "We hold the high ground," Rook said. "Force them into a choke point." Tavok nodded. "Make them climb, one by one." They reached the roof just as the first wave came. The human soldiers tried to scale the collapsed wall. Tavok roared and hurled a chunk of broken pillar down into their path. It smashed the lead soldier, sending others falling. Rook picked them off with quick shots, aiming carefully. Then came the alien side, two agile assassins with bone blades. Leaping through fire, Tavok met them head-on. He fought without his plasma blade, just raw strength and instinct. One assassin stabbed him in the leg, but he grabbed the creature and slammed it into the stone floor, breaking its spine. The other moved faster, but Rook was faster still. A single bullet to the head dropped it cold. More footsteps below. More shouting, reinforcements. Tavok growled. "We can't stay here," Rook said, looking around. "We need an exit." Tavok pointed to the other side of the roof. A drop. "Shoot. Cargo tunnel beneath. Leads to wildlands." "How far?" "Far enough." But the chute was blocked. A support beam had collapsed over it. Rook ran over, trying to push it. Two heavy .TAV AK limped behind him, grabbed the beam with both arms. He strained, muscles flexed. Armor cracked, and then he moved it just enough. "Go," Tavok said, panting. Rook slid down first, into a dark tunnel below. The smell of oil and ash filled his nose. He looked up. Tavok. "Come on." But Tavok didn't follow. Instead, he reached into his belt and pulled out a small black orb. A detonation core. Rook's eyes widened. "No, what are you doing?" Tavok looked down at him, peaceful now. "They will follow. If I fall, they fall with me." "No, I'm not leaving you again. You live," Tavok said. "That is the oath. My brother saved me. You carry him now. Tavok, please." But it was too late. The giant warrior stepped back toward the tower's edge as soldiers climbed over rubble toward him. He raised the orb. He looked down one last time. "My code is complete." And then dash light, heat, silence, the top of the tower vanished in a white explosion, lighting up the night sky like a second sun. The tunnel shook. Rocks fell. Dust choked the air. But Rook was alive. He crawled through the dark passage, tears burning his eyes, hands shaking. Behind him, the tunnel collapsed. Tab was gone, but his sacrifice had saved them both. No, not just them. The message had gone out, and war would never be the same. Hours later, under a sky filled with stars, Rook reached the wildlands. He activated his emergency beacon and old code from the resistance. A reply came back. 3 words. We received it. It had been 3 days since the tower fell. Sergeant James Rook lay in a hidden field camp, far from the front lines. A cold wind swept through the tents, but it didn't touch him. His eyes stared blankly at the sky above. Stars blinked like quiet witnesses, but in Rook's heart, one star had gone dark forever. Tavik was gone. Not just a warrior, not just an alien. He had become something Rook never expected. A friend, a brother, a legend. The explosion had been seen for miles. Both enemy forces had gone silent, unsure what had happened. In the chaos, Rook had slipped into the wildlands, wounded, burned, and half-conscious. He was found by resistance fighters 2 days later, and now he waited across from his bed. An old screen buzzed to life. A woman with gray eyes and a soft voice appeared. "Sergeant Rook," she said. "I'm Commander J of the Civilian Truth Network. We received your message." Rook sat up slowly. "Did you verify the video?" Her eyes darkened. "Yes, it's real. The Council lied. The war was started by design, and Tavik. Jay was quiet for a long time. We're broadcasting his story as well. His image, his sacrifice. People need to see what true honor looks like." Rook nodded, his throat tight. "I couldn't save him," he said softly. "You gave him a purpose," Jay replied. "And now he's changed the galaxy." 1 week later, across planets and colonies, the message spread like fire. This war was built on lies. Clips from the Sector Zero Corps played on every channel. The General's secret message. The plans for fake aggression, the voice of betrayal. And alongside it, a second clip, TAVAK, a grainy image of him standing tall, shielding Rook, fighting back both armies, speaking with words that were translated across dozens of worlds. Peace must cost something. I give everything. People cried. People marched. Soldiers dropped their weapons. Leaders panicked. The first cracks in the war appeared. Then they spread. Back on the wildland's edge, Rook visited the ruins of Sector Zero. The tower was nothing but ash and twisted stone now, but he stood there anyway in his hands. He held a metal plate, the one Tavik had shown him. His warrior's code. He had recovered it from the debris, carefully. He placed it at the foot of a small memorial he'd built, a simple rock pile, marked by a single piece of Tavik's armor. He knelt down. "I never thought I'd trust someone like you," he whispered. "But you gave me something my own people couldn't. You gave me truth." He stood and took a deep breath. "You're gone. But your war's not over." Later that day, Rook stepped into the resistance base, now buzzing with activity. New faces, young and old. Alien and human. Commander J greeted him with a quiet nod. "We need leaders who speak truth," she said. "The people want you." "I'm not a hero," Rook replied. "No," she said. "You're better. You're real." He looked at the growing wall of names, fallen fighters, journalists, engineers, even defected soldiers. And now, one name had been added in large, bold letters. Tavik Warrior, without a fellage underneath it. A new motto was written in both human, standard, and Tavik's native language. Brothers are not born from blood, but from choice. That night, as Rook sat near a small fire, a young boy approached him. He looked human, but had strange markings on his arms, half-blood. "Is it true?" the boy asked. "Did the giant alien really save you?" Rook smiled just a little. "He did more than that." He reached into his pack and handed the boy something. A badge, silver. Simple, etched on it was a symbol, a human hand and an alien claw. Clasped together, the boy's eyes lit up. "Can I wear it?" "You don't wear it," Rook said. "You earn it." The boy stood straighter, holding it close, and in that moment, something shifted. Not in the war, not in politics, but in the heart of the next generation. Epilogue. Months later, the war officially ended. Truth couldn't be buried anymore. Governments fell. New leaders rose. A monument was built on neutral ground, where human and alien soldiers now trained together. At its center stood a statue 12 feet tall, not with a weapon. Not in battle, but with one arm raised in peace. And next to him, human soldier, hand on his shoulder. The plaque read,